This is the packet tracer checking recording 1, 2, 3. This is the packet tracer. A presentation of the 3.4.4.3 lab IP addresses and network communications. And in the Microsoft Word lab document for this file, it shows the PCA and the PCB connected together with a dotted line, a dashed line, and that's using a crossover cable, cross-connect cable. So we're sharing the PC version of packet tracer here. So I'm going to bring in using this new fantastic physical topology feature that's in the latest version of packet tracer. We'll connect these PCA, PCBs together and see if we can get in a ping back and forth with each other. So I'm going to go into the physical key of packet tracer, then click on Home City, then click on Corporate Office, then click on Main Wiring Closet, and we can get those two pieces fit on one desk, so I'm just going to provision one desk, and then I'll click on the PC devices to put them on the table. Now let me blow them up a little bit here, and we can do the a little big. There we can see, make it a little bit this way. Now we can see the thing. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click on PC 0 and change it to the default name. Just go to the config tab. And we always have our PCs, PC-A, PC-B. I'll do the same thing on PCB, click config, and make him PC-B. And now let's provision the cable between the two of them. It's going to use a crossover cable. So if I go down and click on the cable connector, the jagged lightning bolt cable connector, and I go over the orange colored one, it says copper crossover. So I'll click on that, and I'll connect the Ethernet port on the first PC with the Ethernet port on the second PC, and we have a little wire between them, color-coded wire. Okay, so we connected the PCs together to create a peer-to-peer network, which is on first page of the lab. And now we're going to go to verify our physical connectivity by configuring some IP addresses on both these PCs and see if we can get them to ping each other. So in the real lab, you'd get the network control panel like it's printed in the lab. In the packet tracer, it's similar to this. So on page 2, he says we need to configure IP version 4 settings. Step 3, let's configure IPv4 settings on PCA and PCB. So in Windows, you would go into the control panel and then choose network control panel and go to that screen. In packet tracer, you click on the device and click on desktop and then click on the IP configuration. And this is similar looking to the one that's on the Microsoft Windows. And he's supposed to be 192.168.1.1. And if you press the tab key, just like on a real Windows machine, it fills in the subnet mask. Okay, so let's go to the PCB, and configure him similarly. We're going to click on desktop and then IP configuration. And he's going to be 192.168.1.2. He should select that proper subnet mask. And when you float over the boxes, you can see that they sort of show a summary there. So we can see that the one on the right, PCB, is 192.168.1.2, and the one on the left is 192.168.1.1. Now let's verify connectivity, and he's telling us to go to, from PCA, go to the command prompt. So we have the command prompt present here, and packet tracer command prompt's kind of like the Microsoft MS-DOS command prompt. And we're supposed to type ping 192.168.1.2, which is his partner PC. And we're getting the reply back, similar to what it's shown in the print for the lab. Now we're supposed to go to PCB and repeat that pinging back to PCA. So I'll go to the command prompt and I'll type ping 192.168.1.1. That's my partner device. I can type ipconfig and verify that my address is 192.168.1.2. Now we're going to do a little experiment. We're going to change the IP address, step 5, toward the bottom of page 4. We're going to change the IP address for PCB. So I'll go back to the desktop. Let's see, I click this and go to IP configuration. And we're supposed to put it in a different network. We're supposed to put it in 192.168.2.2 and leave the subnet mask the way it was. Now they're still physically connected together with one wire. The link lights are green. So what do you think is going to happen now when we try to ping back and forth? So let's test connectivity between these two PCs now. So at the command prompt from PCB, let's go to the command prompt here. What is it telling us to do? We're supposed to ping, give me a clear prompt here, ping 192.168.2.2. And that's okay, that's his own address. So what about if I ping 192.168.1.1, the other PC? We're still connected together. I could ping him just a second ago. But I changed my IP address. So essentially I put myself in a different area code than him. And I'm not paying the long distance charges. So that's not going to go through there. Okay, so on PCA, we're going to change it to the same logical IP network. So we'll leave PCB set to, PCB was set to be 192.168.2.2. PCA is 192.168.1.1. So the first 3 octets are not the same. They're not in the same logical network. So let's change BA to the IP configuration. And we're instructed to set to 192.168.2.99. And 2. Anything would have worked to be on the same network with this other PCB. He's 2.7. Okay, so let me go to the command prompt here and see if I can ping 192.168. Isn't he 2.2? Yeah, that's correct. He was 2.2. Because we're configured to be on the same network now. So I should be able to ping that weird address you gave him, 192.168. Was it 2.99? Yeah, I can ping him by now. So on step 7, on page 5, he's talking about, was it successful? When on the same network, so they'll be successful. When they're configured, one's on the .1, the other's on the .2, they won't be able to ping each other. So they were originally both on the .1 network, and they pinged. Then we put one in the .1 and one on the .2 network, and they failed to ping. And then we put both of them in the .2 network. One was 192.168.2.2, the other was 2.99, and they were able to ping each other again. So the PCs are still, they never were moved from the same physical network, but they weren't on the same logical network when they weren't configured to be on the same network. So the pings were successful. Now, if you're doing this on a real computer in the real lab, sometimes the firewall turns on by default and it gets in your way. On the packet tracer, the firewall doesn't seem to be giving us any problem here. Okay, so we've completed all the steps for that particular one. And hang loose here, and I'll stop.